I could probably deliver an absolutely glowing review of the last episode of Starfleet Academy, but then at some point just go like this. So look, Michelle Yeoh, who we know as JoJo from Star Trek Discovery and Section 31, the film, was nominated, I guess, for a Razzie. I guess what this is some kind of award they give out for especially bad, not necessarily performances, but we'll say outings in film. Uh, you see, Michelle Yeoh herself is not. It's not bad at this job. It's not that she turned in a particularly bad performance or anything. It's that the vehicle, the film she was in, just happened to crash and burn. That would be Section 31. And I thought this would be an interesting time to talk about it a little bit again because I did review it at the time, and the review did not perform extremely well, which is interesting because that means absolutely no one cared. Like, no one was invested, no one was on board with that Section 31 film. And I mean, to be frank, uh, I completely blocked it out. Like, when I think of the Star Trek films, Section 31 doesn't come up in my mind anymore. It's just gone. It's not there. It has left the building. And I think some people are kind of maybe getting the wrong idea. Like, and I can understand why, because there's like a Trek world, and then there's the normal world, and sometimes they don't cross over as much as you think they would. And I've seen people saying that like the performance wasn't that bad in Section 31. Why is she getting this Razzie? That's not really how it works. You're it's kind of like you're giving an award to how bad the movie is, right? So if I was in Section 31 and I was a sound designer and the movie sounded really good and I did a good job, but I was the only person that they could look and point to and blame for Section 31, I would get that award. I think that's how it works with my limited knowledge of these things. Again, I'm from Trek world, not normal world. And speaking of Trek world and normal world crossing over, when Section 31 first came out, this was like the first time I and a lot of people saw modern Star Trek getting actually dragged through the mud by the normal people, like the people from reality who review movies and such, like the critics. You know, if you go on some site and they show like a user reviews and critic reviews, this was the first time where critics en masse were kind of like not on board, and they usually were with new Trek outings. In that they were getting like the first few episodes, and the first few episodes are pretty good, and it was all right, it was decent, and that's about it. And that's how you end up with these positive critic reviews. And it wasn't the case with Section 31. You couldn't hide it. This was the first time that you couldn't use the streaming platform to hide the poor quality of a product. You see, with streaming, it's fundamentally different than the way television used to work. Television used to work generally and with the old Trek properties, you would get your A plot, your B plot, your 3-act structure, and the story would wrap up by the end. And if it was bad, it was bad. If it was good, it was good. And next day, it could be something totally different. And nowadays, everything is kind of filmed ahead. Is essentially every TV show is essentially a movie. We would have called that a movie back in the day, except they record it so it's 10 hours long, and then they snip it up into little pieces and then sell you the product as a TV show when in actuality it's a movie. And that actually has a lot of problems that I'm realizing, and maybe you're realizing too, because writing a movie is so different than writing a TV show. Number one, it's a different talent set, different skill set. It doesn't. Being able to wrap up a story efficiently is its own unique talent, and being able to tell a 2-hour movie that's compelling is its own unique talent. Being able to tell a compelling 10-hour movie, you see, maybe we're playing on hard mode or easy mode, depending on who you ask, but we're separating these things into these little chunks. And with streaming, to get back to my point, you can string people along. Like, you can keep them watching. You can dangle just enough things in front of them that they have to keep watching. The whole point of streaming platforms writ large is to keep you signed up. It's to make it so you don't unsubscribe. And with Section 31, it being just a movie, it couldn't hide behind that. It was a sit down and watch and judge the entire product all at once, and you couldn't say that it might get better, or it might get worse, or it's just not for me, or blah blah blah. It really was just that bad, right? It was like there is no way to sugarcoat that, and it was really sad that it involved Michelle Yeoh, who was otherwise people like Michelle Yeoh, and people have varying feelings on Giorgio. I never liked Giorgio as a character, but some people liked her. I'll grant that, but Section 31 wasn't it. It wasn't, and it took forever to come out. It was in development hell for so long. I remember watching Discovery season 2 and seeing characters who were like being shunted off into Section 31 and the eventual TV show that Section 31 would be, which never came to pass. And the way Kurtzman kept talking about Section 31 coming and how excited he was, it smacked of contractual obligation, like they had to do this or something. And then Michelle Yeoh was contractually obligated to do it as well. And then we ended up with this product that just, it was a movie. You could watch it. It was just an absolute train wreck. It was a high-speed train wreck, too. It wasn't a slow train. It wasn't a steam train. This was a maglev type high-speed train that went off the rails with Section 31. It's genuinely challenging to find anything good about it in regards to plot, music, theme, anything like that, visuals. And everyone mistakenly believed it took place in like the 2200s, but it was the 2300s because you couldn't tell. You couldn't tell by the way it looked. Star Trek fans couldn't tell. They did reveal the stardate if you were paying attention, but if you could not immediately decipher the stardate, you were thinking, wait a minute, why is Rachel Garrett here? Because it looked that alien to the Star Trek that we have seen before. So, why even bother with this timeline nonsense if it could just be anywhere? So that's enough about re-reviewing Section 31 in snippet form. I wonder, is this live streamed or Razzie's live stream? Will Michelle Yeoh show up in person to accept her award for Section 31? I would. I definitely, I would go and accept that award. It's great. I get to be in public and people can see me and I can make a fool of myself and receive my award for a genuinely terrible movie in Section 31. But here's hoping. Is the future of Star Trek going to be just in these streaming shows? Probably. Or are we going to get another movie? Is there going to be another Kurtzman-produced Star Trek film? Is Star Trek Year One going to be a film that the looming threat of that show where that's going to take place after Strange New Worlds, like Strange New Worlds 2? Who knows if that's coming? It is interesting that you would cast like Thomas Jane for the last 5 seconds of Strange New Worlds, if indeed that is what's happening. A more well-known actor and not use it for a TV show. Who knows? Certainly not me. So Academy is still continuing now, which is a streaming show and not a movie. But it seems to fly in the face of my original theory with regards to critic reviews. I thought critic reviews were kind of like front-end loaded with the first 3 episodes being better than normal. The better than average for what would otherwise be like included in the full show. And that's how critics were getting a differing perspective from the user scores. But with Academy, the first 3 episodes, I mean, I didn't think they were that great. They went from average to bad, and but the critic reviews would say otherwise. I don't know. Maybe the simplest answer is that they're just getting paid to do it. If I was getting paid to review these things, I would make sure I could do everything in my power to keep getting these reviews, to keep getting this access to review these things. Because I could probably just go like this. I could probably deliver an absolutely glowing review of the last episode of Starfleet Academy, but then at some point just go like this, whoop, and that little wink. That's how you know I don't really think this. I'm just getting the money because I need to live, unfortunately. But that about wraps it up for the world of Star Trek today. I'm Lieutenant Mark, and I'm going to see you when next time I see you. So long.